What up, everyone? I'm Heatfire, and this is my first video of the year. I have been working a lot lately, and quite honest, I have been lazy when it comes to making these videos, but recently I had an incident at work, which is why I'm making this video. So as of today, January 15th, 2024, I had a work incident and I was drug tested. And come to find out that the state I live in, California, they no longer screen you for THC in your system. Now, I found that interesting, so I figured, I might as well make a video about it. If this is your first time to my channel, please be sure to like and share and subscribe. I will be reading a few snippets from NBC San Diego News, and I'll give my thoughts and opinions at the end. So with that being said, let's get it. A new California law will soon protect most workers in the state who use cannabis off the clock, except for construction workers, and some of them aren't happy about it. Last year, Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 2188, adding a section to the California Fair Employment and Housing Act, which bans various forms of employment discrimination. Starting January 1st, it will be illegal for employers to discriminate against hiring, firing, or punishing someone based on their use of cannabis when not working and away from the work site. Moving forward, employers can still test employees and potential employees for THC, the major psychoactive ingredient in cannabis that can indicate impairment. However, the law stops employers from discriminating against them if they test positive for non-psychoactive cannabis metabolites, or metabolized THC found in hair, blood, urine, and other bodily fluids. These metabolites do not indicate impairment, only that an individual has consumed cannabis in the last few weeks, the legislator found. The legislation does not preempt state or federal laws requiring applicants or employees to be tested for controlled substances as a condition of employment, receiving federal funding or federal licensing related benefits, or entering into a federal contract. Employers will keep their right to declare a drug and free alcohol workplace. This law does not allow workers to be impaired by or use cannabis on the job. Which employees will be exempt from AB 2188? Federal employees and those who work in building and construction trades will not be protected under the new law. The new law also doesn't apply for those hired for positions that require federal background checks and clearance, says Dominic Larson, a glazier, which is someone who specializes in installing different glass products. Glazier Larson researched what's coming. He's been working in construction for 22 years and feels this discrimination law isn't fair. His field isn't covered in the law, but other safety-sensitive industries like truck driving and healthcare are.
Somehow, a joint I smoke at home is going to affect my job the next day, but not an Amazon driver? I just don't understand stuff like that,
Larson said. Employment attorney Bernard Alexander says,
There's some gray area with this law.
He says
the first issue is that impairment is never defined. Once it is, how can someone prove that their employee is high on the job? Just because you have cannabis inside your system, does that mean that you're impaired? Cannabis can stay inside the system for long periods of time,
Alexander said. Priority Medical Group reports cannabis is detectable for up to 3 months. AB 2188 states employers will use a test that can determine impairment, but doesn't go into detail about how that test will work.
I think this is one of those areas where there will be growing pains, because there may be circumstances where a person tests and the tests are not going to be accurate,
Alexander said. Larson doesn't smoke anymore because he could be tested at any point, but says weed outside work shouldn't be a problem.
If they're calling it a discrimination law and they're saying no one should be discriminated against, I want the state to either include us or to explain to us why we are so different,
Larson said. In October, Newsom signed a bill, Senate Bill 700, related to cannabis into law that will block most employers from asking job applicants about their prior cannabis use starting next year. Okay, so that's the article. Again, I got it from NBC San Diego News. So here are my thoughts on this. So if they're not going to be drug screening for THC anymore, who does that affect? Well, this article does say that if there is a background check that you have to get done for a federal work, I'm pretty sure truck drivers are, still going to have to remain clean just because they are transporting commercial goods. If you're a police officer, security guard, anything on the federal level, teachers, I'm pretty sure are going to have to remain clean with this. In my job, I do operate heavy machinery, but I didn't have to do a clearance background check for it. It is a safety sensitive work environment, and this is my test results right here. As you can see, January 15th of 2024. It says that it came back negative. I did get screened for alcohol. That was the first test that I did, and then the rest were, just urine, and it did it right there on the spot. And again, I got my results back. So this is interesting. I do know that some states will still have their state laws in place where they are not allowed to smoke even while off the clock. But I do reside in California. I do know that some states are going to adapt this new law, and it's going to be good news for some people, and for others it may not be so much good news because they're like, hey, how come all these other people can still smoke but I can't? That is very understandable. I figure some jobs, hey, you're getting paid like $36 an hour that are federal jobs, and other jobs not so much. I would say it is a scale on how much you get paid, but I can't say that to be true because you look at teachers and you're like, hey, they have to do a background check also, but they don't get paid as much as someone who's working in construction. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. And one thing I was thinking, I'm like, well, I do work in a safety sensitive environment. I do operate heavy machinery. It got me thinking, like, should I go ahead and smoke? I've been clean for this amount of time, so long. It is a personal responsibility. This machine that I am operating, if I'm not careful, I could potentially cause a fatality, and I don't want to do that. And I'm pretty sure if something bad were to happen due the negligence on my behalf, definitely I would be terminated and possibly thrown in jail because of the THC found in my system, even if I hadn't been smoking it prior to clocking in. It's just one of those things where the gray area comes into play. I would encourage anyone to look further into this if you do live in a non state that's going to adopt this. But yeah, just let me know what you think about this. I thought it was very interesting. I wasn't scared or anything to get drug tested because I am clean, but yeah, this just threw me by surprise that they no longer test for THC if you are going to get hired in certain jobs, and if you had an incident like I did, and they're not going to test for it. But yeah, so I'll just go ahead and leave it there. Anyways, if you guys like this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll try to make more videos. Like I said, I've been working a lot. This is just the first that I've made for this year, just to inform you guys of what's going on. And I'll catch you guys next time. Late.